Okay, another attack in Sokoto, close to where Nnamdi Kanu's, where Nnamdi Kanu is currently, relocated, and at the same time, Nnamdi Kanu is adamant that he can never drop Biafra for anything. Don't forget that, like Shogumi said, what Nnamdi Kanu must drop Biafra decision for that. He will lead protest for Nnamdi Kanu freedom. What is your take as regards this current happening?
I think there's a series of attacks, ever since Nnamdi Kanu was actually moved to Sokoto prison, and the most recent one came very close to where Nnamdi Kanu is, But I think it's one of the reasons why Bola Ahmed Tinubu is actually planning, to relocate Nnamdi Kanu back to a Lagos prison. From what we are hearing, there were plans already on ground to, move him back to Lagos as a result of the dangers associated to maybe unfortunate invasion of prison, and when another thing happens, then the whole world is going to hold the federal government responsible for whatever that happens in this regard, because the questions will be asked, why did you now send him to a hostile ground, where that bandits and Boko Haram and jihadists and all that, work freely and all that. So this one surprises a lot of people. And from what we are hearing, we learned that the indigents, of course, the Christian community within that area, was able to resist, their movement, miles away from where Nnamdi Kanu is, considering the sensitivity, of them trying to force their way into, the items where Nnamdi Kanu is located. I think that resistance was actually what, pushed them back, and they went somewhere and committed and abducted people who were actually having a marriage ceremony in that regard, and disappeared into thin air. So that was what it is, and you can remember to the Igbo Sokoto residents in Sokoto has also been very sensitive and security conscious of trying to make sure that Nnamdi Kanu is definitely and adequately protected, because he has rejected the northern Fulani push for him to reject Biafra. He told them when a powerful delegate were sent to him, he told them in that regard, and that was the explosion we had from Shegumi, saying that he is actually going to lead Nnamdi Kanu's advocacy, freedom advocacy, release advocacy, if he agrees with this Capliphate, submission to reject Biafra and all that. And the question Nnamdi Kanu was trying to make it very clearly that, that he will never compromise the struggle just to get released from prison, in a situation he knows very well that he never committed any crime, that the only crime he committed was to seek for self-determination, which is his right, not even a privilege. So it causes a lot of disarray, and the possibility that this might have spearheaded contacts to some of these armed groups who are trying to see why would Nnamdi Kanu disobey a whole caliphate by saying that he is not going to jettison anything that has to do with Biafra in that regard. So I think that was what the report and speculations from public affairs analysts and security experts who are trying to analyze the situation and the series of attacks within the ASICs in the Nnamdi Kanu is located.
Okay, but do you not think that just like we said, Shogumi was saying Nnamdi Kanu must be remorseful and he will join the protest to release Nnamdi Kanu. But do you not think if this attack persists, do you not think Tinubu will finally, relocate Nnamdi Kanu? Because a lot of people are saying this man is intentionally keeping Nnamdi Kanu for 2027 election. Do you not think to preserve and keep Nnamdi Kanu safe and healthy, do you not think Tinubu is considering relocate him to down to Lagos.
Sending him to Sokoto was not actually a wise one. It has no security consideration. It is just a form of punishment. Let me just put it that way. But if you look at if that decision they took backfires, I think that's what the president is trying to look at this point in time. What of is this decision they made, sending him to Sokoto backfired? Then what is going to be the fate of those who were behind it at the end of the day? So that's why he's thinking of options of bringing him back to somewhere very close to the south, where at least he can be able to have assurance that there will be no arms bandits or Boko Haram or ISWAP or trying to get to the prison and trying to harm Nnamdi Kanu at the end of the day, because the federal government is also looking at what what will happen if that kind of thing takes place and Nnamdi Kanu was able to get to by these people. So I think that's the plan. Bola Ahmed Tinubu is treading very carefully at this point in time, since everything has gotten, how will I put it, have triggered worldwide condemnation of that kind of judgment given to a man that has no gun. And the condemnation has continued to spread, all over the world. And I think the government needs to do something and try to see how the image of the judiciary can be recovered.
Okay, but it was reported that like it will be, and this, so the okay, the likes of Alex Otti and his governor of Sokoto visited Nnamdi Kanu. And we know what from report, we heard what's currently going on in the Sokoto prison, as Nnamdi Kanu being finally named the president in prison. So a lot of people say this man, even the Fulanis attest to the fact that Nnamdi Kanu should not be where he is currently.
Those are the people who are also making sure that he's adequately protected. It came as a surprise, because I said it very clearly that when we imagine Nnamdi Kanu steps in, transformation will happen, and there will be the orientation. Most of these people we are seeing in that prison today has totally been they radicalized. So they now understand, there's another perspective to what life is all about. There's another perspective. There's a man out there, So he's been totally celebrated in the prison currently now, and it didn't surprise a lot of people that the EU, the governor of Abia State and the governor of Sokoto State, led a powerful, delegate today to go and visit Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, and a lot of deliberations were made, a lot of things were being discussed, especially bordering on security of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. And from what we are hearing, the EU delegates who were part of that, high level delegate to meet with Nnamdi Kanu, made it very clearly that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu does not need to be there, that place he is staying, he did not marry it because he never committed any offense. But there's something that the Sokoto governor actually said that caught attention of many people, and I think to a very large extent, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is not going to be used for political solution of Bola Ahmed Tinubu if he's thinking in that direction. So what they have, people are saying that they agreed was that to make sure that he is safe first, then and the deliberations on how Mazi Nnamdi Kanu will be released at the end of the day. And of course, like everybody is saying today, no matter how justified the federal government will look at his matter, and other things surrounding Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's trial, Bola Ahmed Tinubu has the sole responsibility to stand up one today and say, enough is enough, young man, go home. You didn't commit any crime. Grant him an unconditional pardon. And that is what General Asabuja is saying, that Bola Ahmed Tinubu should look inwards, because Mazi Nnamdi Kanu has been sabotaged by the Eastern governors and political leaders in that direction. And the one possibly poisoning, Tinubu not to release him because of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu domineering influence in the political, domineering influence in in the southeast, where everybody knows that he's the only leader recognized by Igbos all over the world. We can see also Mikel Obi identifying with the struggle and saying it very clearly that yes, I am a Biafran, and I understand very clearly that my people are being marginalized and are persecuted. I align with Mazin Nnamdi Kanu, align with the freedom of Biafrans all over the world. That is John Mikel Obi, making it very clearly to the whole world. We are not talking about another person is Destiman, Tuko, who also lent out his voice that the only solution to stop jihadists in Nigeria is for the whole world to announce and recognize Biafra as a sovereign nation. So Mazin Nnamdi Kanu, has become a phenomenon. Have become a reference point. No matter how you look at it, Mazin Nnamdi Kanu, he once said it, that he one day be in Sokoto prison to liberate the Awusas of the north, from the Janjaweed. That's but straight will have it. But though we are not too comfortable with his presence in Sokoto currently now, and I believe that Bola Ahmed Tinubu is actually considering presidential unconditional pardon to Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. And of course, if he fails to do that, well, it might attract, a forceful face-off between the Nigerian government and the United States of America. And that is what Bola Ahmed Tinubu is actually trying to avoid. Now that to an extent he has started appointing ambassadors here and there and all that, both those who are competent and those who are not competent, maybe to see how the image of Nigeria can be laundered on his behalf ahead of 2023 election. But I can tell you, that delegation today, was a high-profile one. A lot of things were discussed there. Imagine the EU delegates joining these two governors, from two different regions to meet Mazi Nnamdi Kanu in Sokoto. It is a welcome development, and I want to celebrate Dr. Alex Otti, the governor of Abia State, for that wonderful movement, to get Mazi Nnamdi Kanu have his freedom back.